At the outset, I thank the Satish team led by Dr. Dev Pujari for inviting over here to just present my thoughts before you. At the outset, I also wish to admit that I am not a good speaker or orator. I may be a good teacher in my field, and in public meeting I am not that of a practice to give speech, and that too to speak after my learned friend Dr. Ved Prakash Mishra is very, very difficult for me. Anyway, please bear with me. We are all, in fact, going through a very unprecedented situation created because of COVID-19. And then we are all going for new normals. But at the same time, individually also and the institute-wise, we are also trying to do something, trying to contribute something to face these challenges. And I suppose that one such effort is this, that Dr. Dev Pujari and his team has contributed this Inspired 2 to the society. And when I saw this banner, I was very happy to see that one of the fraternity from medical sciences and there are 5 from the engineering fraternity. To see this, I am very, very happy, because gone are the days that one single person can do the things. We have to work in a team, and that to team when the engineers and the doctors are coming together, I am sure that we can do the wonders. It is not that he brought these doctors and engineers together, but I saw that there are experts from Pune and Nagpur. So Pune and Nagpur people, they are also coming together to do something. So that is also a thing that we must appreciate. And as far as my talk here is concerned, that it is the applications of the advanced engineering practices in medical sciences or in biomedical engineering. So I'll just start with a little bit of story how I enter into this field. It may be because of my unfulfilled sort of a desire to work in medical sciences, because in 1978 when I did my 12th, I was getting admission to both medical college, government medical college and VRC that time. And my parents were thinking that I should go for a medical, but then I opted otherwise and I went for engineering. And so there may be something in my mind that, okay, I should also do in this area. And what happened that, I think in 2003 or 4, I was just meeting with one of the dental surgeon or professor in government dental college, Dr. Agrawal, and I was just going through a thesis of MDS, and then I found that a lot of engineering was there, and this has in fact prompted me, why not to see that how engineer can be used in this particular area. And then that time one of my students, she was ready for doing her PhD, and then I thought that why not to use what we call as finite element analysis as one of the advanced techniques that we normally use for our mechanical system. So why not to use it for this root canal treatment, because it is observed that when your tooth structure is somehow because of the carie or the accident it is removed, then you go for tooth restoration. And therein, when I study, I found that what they are doing is they are basically removing some material and putting gatta parcha and then this post core, and at the top of that there is a crown. And then we thought of simulating this whole things, modeling that thing. And there was some 2 contradictions which I found in the objectives of that root canal treatment. First of all, that If you want a better retention of that tooth restoration, then the size of the post or the diameter of the post should be as large as possible. But if you are doing it, then you are removing more of the material, and then there will be excessive stresses around the root. So that is also not desirable. So these two contradicting things are there, and so what we did is we simulated whole of this process and consider the different geometries of the post, different materials for the post and core and the crown. We simulated and we tried to find out how the stresses are distributed in the root of the tooth. And because the main purpose of that was to ensure that your system should be such that it should impart as minimum stresses as possible around the root. And to my surprise, we found that whatever earlier papers were there, they were saying that if you use this kind of material, let us say for the glass fiber or the carbon fiber material, then the stresses will be less. But as far as the engineering is concerned, what we have been taught that it is not the material which decide the stress, but it is the flexibility or the strain that the material will affect. And so from that point of view, when we did it, we found that yes, there are the glass fiber post or the carbon fiber post that is going to reduce the minimum stresses in the root, but that is not because of the material, but because of the flexibility of that. So that is how we started working on that, and then we also decided and found in fact that many of the researchers, they have not considered what is the effect of the PDL, the periodontal ligament, on the stress distribution. And from the engineering point of view, that is a very critical thing because it is the hyperelastic material, and the basic purpose of that is to distribute the stresses evenly. So when we consider that, we found that if you consider the effect of the PDL, then perhaps we can go for the larger size of the root, which with the similar amount of the stress distribution, but better retention of the tooth restoration. So that is how we enter into this field. And but then of course, whatever research we are doing, that was on the sort of a personal level, the personal contacts. And but then we enter into that, and slowly many of my fellows and the research students, they gathered strength. Then we started interacting with the various doctors in Nagpur, like Dr. Bodhankar, Dr. Mardikar, Dr. Satyajit Jagtap, all they become sort of our friends, and we form a team. And right now we are having a biomedical engineering forum, and incidentally I am the president of that. And then we started working in this area, and some of the sort of problems of the project that we have carried out, that I will just mention here briefly, which will give you an idea about how the engineering can play a role in this biological or medical sciences. One of the projects that we did with Dr. Mardikar and Dr. Nitin Deshpande, that was if there is a blockage in the renal artery, then how that is going to affect the secondary hypertension, and also how it will affect the blood flow to the kidney. Because for engineers, that blockage, it is something blockage in a pipe in which the water or some fluid is flowing, and if there is a blockage, then definitely it will increase the pressure on the pump which is there. And so from that point of view, when we studied it, we found that there is a definite relationship between the blockages and the secondary hypertension. We did what we call as the computational fluid dynamics, again one of the advanced engineering techniques, and we could find out the relationship between the blockages and the secondary hypertension. And fortunately for us, we could also cross check that thing. And we work with the Spandan Hospital, and out of 22 patients, whatever results we got, we could cross check it, and we found it correct for a 19 patient. So that is how we cross check our analysis also. And then we also tried to find out how the blood supply to the kidney reduces as there is an increase in the blockage. That also we could cross check. And then there is another issue, that was the deployment of the stent in the renal artery. And for engineer, that is a very, very complex situations, because when you are putting the stent into the artery, then we have got that stent which is linear material. Then if you consider the artery, that is a very hyperelastic material, and then there is a balloon which is also hyperelastic. So to analyze this whole system, which is highly you can say it is a combination of the linear and non-linear material, and then to this is in fact the fluid also flowing, and then there are stresses created because of that, the wall shear stresses, and so many things are there. So we tried to analyze that, and one of my student, he worked on that, and we tried to find out that at what pressure we should inflate that balloon so that the stent remain there without causing excessive stresses in the artery. Because if you are inflating it at a very high pressure, then that may result into excessive stresses in the artery, and which will result into wrist stenosis. So that was a problem, and if you are not inflating it at a sufficient pressure, then there is a possibility of migration of a stent. So these are again two contradictory things. So we did the analysis, and we found out it should be at almost at 12 atmospheric pressure. If you inflate that, then perhaps you can put the stent properly without having excessive stresses. And when we found actually at what pressure doctor are putting the stent, we found that it is at 30 atmosphere or like that. So that is how again we were checking our whatever analysis we are doing, and for that we need the help of the medical fraternity, because as an engineer we can do something, but whether that is right or wrong, there are, because many other aspects are also related to that, the drugs that they are taking, and our body itself is responding to the various kind of the condition. So that is one thing that we did, and then we selected in fact this renal artery initially because the diameter of that artery is little bigger than the coronary artery. So we are having apprehensions that if you start with the coronary artery first, then it may be slightly difficult for us. But then later on we selected a problem of the coronary artery with multiple blockages. And to our surprise, when any doctor suggests that there is 99% of the blockage in your coronary artery, then we feel that how come when there is 99% of the blockage and we are still surviving? So that was a sort of a question for us. And then when we discussed with the doctors, we found that it is not the reduction, 99% reduction in the area, but it is a lumen diameter which reduces to 99%, and there is sufficient area available for the blood flow. So therein what we tried to do is we tried to collaborate the relationship between the lumen diameter reduction and the area reduction, because for the engineers it is the area reduction which is important, because that is going to decide what will be the blood flow, what are the stresses which will be developed, and those kind of things. Again, what will be the secondary hypertension. So that is more important for us. And we then tried to find out the relationship between the lumen diameter reduction and the area reduction. And that also we checked, because in some of the cases the doctors are doing FFR, wherein they are in fact going for the reduction in the area, not the reduction in the diameter. So in some of the cases there we got some in fact the data from Dr. Mahurkar hospitals, and we cross checked that. So these are some of the things that we did, and we are enjoying in fact working with the doctors. Then recently one project that we are doing is we are working with Dr. Ukhalkar. When we are doing the dialysis, then what we got to know is that you are connecting the artery and vein, and you are creating what is called as AV fistula. And many of the times it is observed that AV fistula fails and it collapses and then your dialysis you cannot do. And for that, if you are connecting that artery and vein at a particular angle, then perhaps you can increase the possibility of the maturation of that AV fistula. So for that, again we did the CFD analysis and we tried to find out at what angle if you connect the artery and vein, the chances of the AV fistula to mature in a given duration, that can be maximized. And so lot of thing we did. And then the next question was how to ensure that you are connecting that artery and vein in that particular angle. So for that we are now trying to make a device which will ensure that you are connecting that artery and vein in a particular angle, so that the maturation of the fistula that can be confirmed and it will not collapse. So these are some of the things that we are doing, and I am happy that now there is that biomedical engineering forum wherein about 30-40 doctors in and around Nagpur and 30 to 40 engineers, they are working together. So when we got this kind of a sort of a project, and Dr. Devpujari, when he approached me, we were so happy to see that at least somebody has come to us, and now again we are and he is encouraging us to do something, and this kind of product that they have developed, that is definitely a sort of a encouraging sign for all the engineers and the doctors, and we can do the wonders if all of us work together. As far as the VNIT is concerned, in this recent pandemic, we also contributed to the society, particularly in the area of the healthcare. We have developed this two-way ventilator splitter that was handed over to the IGMC, and I hope that they have tested it properly. Then we have also come out with UV sanitizers for sanitizing the PPE kits, and some of those were handed over to AIIMS Nagpur. And one Sahayak robo that one of my professor Sheetal Chiddarwar and her students, they have developed. That is a robo with a vision system, so that it can serve the patient who are in the isolation ward with the food and the drugs, and there can be communication between the doctors and the patient, the doctor who is sitting in the cabin and the patient who is in the isolation ward. So that one such robo that also we have given to AIIMS Nagpur. So these are some of the contributions that we are doing, and I am happy to share with you now that Dr. Devpujari is a adjunct professor in VNIT in the mechanical engineering department, and that is sort of an honor for VNIT, and I am sure that with his guidance and the guidance from the dignitaries who are sitting over here, all the doctors, VNIT and research scholars from our institute, our professors in the various areas, because there are some of the professors who are doing this kind of work from mechanical engineering department, then there are some from electronics departments and the computer science department. So that complete team that will be in a position to do something better for the society, and whatever sort of a I will not say help, but facilities and these things are required from the VNIT, those are always available, and it will be in fact honor for the VNIT to work with the medical fraternity for doing this kind of. Once again, thanks for inviting me over here. Thank you.